We are in Almoravid. It's Sunday night, actually. I usually get to play a little earlier in the day. I don't know why. I mean, I sleep late, right? But with the heat and everything, it's so much nicer down here. I should just move down here. Anyhow, comfort is a bad thing. You know what I haven't done is I haven't done a story so far, which I usually do right after I load the video, and I forgot to do it. The story so far is through the spring and summer, the Christians have managed to take both Toledo and Cordoba. They got Toledo rather rapidly. Cordoba took them 2 turns to take, and I don't know. I feel like they got kind of lucky on the Toledo attack. The Cordoba one feels like it went kind of according to plan, but I've lost Alfonso, I get them confused, due to not having enough troops left, so I kind of retired him, I think. And he's not going to be due in really until next year, because this is winter sequence. He's not going to be showing up. So I'm working without a marshal, which makes it much more difficult to do anything. And we're hitting the Levy phase. So I got to reshuffle the decks, because you got to reshuffle every turn, and then we'll draw a couple of random events and see what comes of it. All right, let's give it a shot. And the first Christian one, devaluation. Muslims reduced their coin among typhus box and lords to 2/3 of the total. There's nothing there. But here, that's going to drop me down to a deuce. That could be, potent under certain circumstances, but... And then the Song of Roland, an unbesieged Christian lord immediately musters 1 crusader. Eudes, if unbesieged, immediately musters all ready vassals. Eudes isn't available. Okay. Let's see what a crusader looks like. Trying to remember which are bishops, which are crusaders. That's the crusader. Okay. And that's going to come with 2 knights. All right. Well, that could strengthen good old Sancho, but he's facing nothing. So, since I'm in an area where I can muster, let's look at our other guys. 2, 4, 6. He's full up at 6, so 2, 4, 6. Only 3 for Alvar. Alvar's a good leader. He's probably someone I would make into a lieutenant. So, I'm going to put this here. Now, this doesn't come with any kind of limit on it. In terms of... it doesn't have any kind of service limit or anything. I'll put these back on top. The weird thing, the reason you have to reshuffle so much is that the players can look through their entire deck and pick what they want each time, each levy. It's kind of an obnoxious mechanism. I don't like reshuffling this much. León y Castilla, rivalry. Shift service of Anzuras, Ordóñez, Fañas, or Rodrigo. 1 box left. This levy. No muster of or by them. All right. Them. So, if this was 20, 30 years ago, them would be plural, and it would refer to all of these. I'm going to assume that it is still plural, but who knows nowadays? And Suarez is Pedro. Ordóñez is Garcia. It's service marker, so I can't just bring Rodrigo down, right? Fañas is also in there. Yeah, so one of them is going to get reduced, and this is problematic because all of them will require some pay. Now I'm okay, I have some loot, so I can pay people off. Who do I want to pay off? Well, I do not want Fanez to fall back at all, particularly, although he has no other lords, but that's okay. It kind of doesn't matter. But none of these guys are going to be allowed to muster. And that's going to be a painful thing, because I can't get more troops. But more importantly, I'm probably okay with troops with these knights that I got. Everybody's at feed 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I didn't roll for that. That's going to be from an assault, so it needs a 1 to survive. That'll go away. Let's put it in the right place. Kinda doesn't matter who I pick. Whoever it is, I can't afford to lose anything. I'll move Garcia down. Now this is a situation I definitely do not want to be in. I'm going to have to pay off my lords, there's no question. And then the second one, let's put this here, just to remind me. All 3 of those lords are screwed. Brenga Ramon. If Count of Barcelona is with Christians, I've considered it. He did not show up. They discard that card. If not, a lord may levy this card and its units now for 1 asset. This will give this lord plays 2 coin once. To muster 2 knights and 2 men-at-arms until discarded. I think it's worth doing. I have to throw an asset away. Mules, remember I'm not a big fan of mules, so I'm going to throw a mule away. Actually, a provender might be better. Let's see what I have. 2, 4, 5. Yeah, let's get rid of a provender, because I can generate provender rather quickly. I get this card, and this card allows me to pay coin to muster 2 knights and 2 men-at-arms. Which I'll put over on the card as a reminder, and I'll leave that there until I have hands. Now it's pay time. Christians and Muslims can pay. Loot can be spent at a friendly locale free of siege. And you could also do coin. Coin can also shift a lord. And this can be anyone at the same location, which is important because Fanez has all the, well, he has all the loot. So let's see what we want to do. First things first, we absolutely need to move this guy. So that's 1. But that may not be good enough. The reason we have to move him is otherwise he'll lose these vassals permanently, and that's no good. Do I want Pedro on the board or not is kind of the question here. I'm going to spend 2 more loot. To move this and his buddies, and this with no buddies up. But Pedro is the iffy thing. Garcia has a bigger army. I kind of like him. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's only a feed times 1. I don't know why. These times 2. I kind of don't feel like Pedro's all that useful to me right now. Which means I could start disbanding him. Because basically I'm going to be able to move Fanez and 1 unit. And the other side of things is Pedro's got coin of his own which will disappear. So I'll pay. To move him up. What about this guy? Why didn't he move? Because I moved these instead, I think. Ah, shit. He was a 3. I don't know. I don't fucking know. He moved once. So 1, he was here, he moved to there, yeah. I think I just didn't move this. But I seem to recall moving these 2 guys. How are they? They're a 2 and a 3. They would have come in here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think they're here. I don't know. So I think I brought 1 in. Who knows? All right. So I may have cheated a coin or something. I'm not sure. It's not going to kill us. Garcia having a counter is important now, but here's the problem. Fenez can be a lieutenant, but that means Garcia, his cards don't count. There's a card that I could muster, except I'm not allowed to muster anything with any of these, that would allow Fenez to become a marshal. But I'm not going to have that opportunity. So I'm in kind of a troublesome position here, where I could make Garcia the lieutenant, but his cards suck comparatively. You see, it's kind of just troublesome. Like, he gets 2 commands per card, whereas Fenez gets 4. So I don't really have a lot of options there. I'm really not sure about this Pedro thing, except that I had a coin on him. So I'll leave things as they are, I guess, in terms of paying off. What about Almoravid? He doesn't want to pay. Although if I lose him, it's game over. Okay. Christian, then Muslims and vassals and service. We don't have any of that. Pariahs. I could throw Almoravid's coin into the typhus box again. I don't want to do that. Now we're at muster. The only person allowed to muster at this point is Sancho. Which, I mean, sure. Because something might happen up there. So I have 2 lordship. There are no lords available to me to bring into play. That would have been an option, but nope. Rodrigo's not available yet. So, I don't know. I think I'll grab myself 2 mules. Which isn't good. It means I have to discard. But that's okay. Alright. And go over to muster over here. And I got to think a little bit. Because among other things, two coins once to muster 2 knights, 2 men-at-arms until discarded. I have to put these here because until they're mustered, nothing happens. Now, that top part says I could get the card, I could levy the card for an asset. That's different than activating it. So I have the card available, but I have to mark that the troops haven't yet been put onto him, which is kind of the weirdness here. 2, 4, 5, 6, I'm at pay 1. This is not going to cost me one of my 2 levy actions. My feeling is that I want to levy shit in Granada. I want to levy, I guess it's an emir of Granada, but I got to think about it a little. That's not a bad choice, and he's sort of my first choice here. So I'm gonna grab him. He'll give me more forces back here, which is of some interest. He's got a decent service. Everybody's got a decent service. He's got a command rating of 3, though. The only other command rating of 3 is Almoravid of Larida, which is mainly up here, although also down here, which conceivably could be useful, but with Sancho still out there, I don't think I'm going to gain much from him. So I'm going to make a roll to see if I can get Granada into the game. Now, the problem with him is he only comes in on a 1 to 3, which makes him a little bit more difficult than some of the others. That's a no. I'll take another shot. I don't like this, but it's a 5. He just doesn't come in. Oh well. Das life. I'm going to definitely pay that 2 coin to get these extra troops. But that puts me up to a feed times 2. Which means I've got some problems. And that's really the end of my muster. I could have done this at any time as far as I can see. But again, I needed the troops on the card to tell me that I can muster them. I might as well do it now, I guess. It says muster. I think it has to happen during the levy step. I'm not sure. Just to call to arms, and I don't think there's anything we can do. There is no green Rodrigo on the map, nor any lord permanently removed. So we don't get to do anything there. He's not ready. Udes is not ready. The Muslims could muster Rodrigo if he was ready on their side, and then other stuff is with Yusuf. So that's the end of the levy phase, and we go over to the campaign. Take a break there. But I wanted to talk a little bit. I grabbed some screen capture software and did this whole thing so that I could, like, I don't know, kind of show you and talk about Raid. Not that I'm all that excited about it, nor trying to convince anybody to play it, because it's a horrible game. But I wanted to at least show people who had no interest in looking, you know, in actually playing it, but might be caught into, you know, seeing what I look at it about it. And I don't know, I must have been chatting for about an hour and a half. Turns out the free software I pulled cuts off after 5 minutes. So there's almost nothing there. And I deleted it and got rid of the software. There may be another one, but I was just in the mood to do that last night. I was in the mood to chatter about something. And since, you know, I'm stuck waiting on Raid a lot of the times, that's what I spent my time on. And a total fucking waste of time. So, I don't know. Alright, I'm going to break for a bit. I like doing the levy. It feels kind of like an atomic choice to do the levy, and then the campaign afterwards. Yeah, he wasn't able to get any cards. He wasn't able to levy anything other than Sancho's stuff. So yeah, this is what we're playing with. And I don't choose lieutenant until during the campaign, during the early part of the campaign, the planning. Considering the command situation for the Christians down here, and I'm not thrilled. Look. Oh, I didn't do these. Let me take care of those. 2 from a Reconquista. That's just 1. Which gets me a half point away from them. And then I am allowed a locale where no lord is. That's not going to help at all. Okay. That was the... You can't remove this because I've got lords there. And I'm going to still have lords there at the end of this turn. My plan is to try to move against Murcia. Mainly because I don't care how big I am, it's really hard to take on where there's an enemy lord. You really have to set up. First of all, there's not going to be a surrender, no matter what you do, unless the lord ends up with no coin, which he has no coin, and besieged and having to do his payoffs. But he's way out here. It's just not, I'm not going to be able to maintain it. So I start looking at my, and again, these other taifas, they're not opposed to me. They're my buddies. You know, I have no excuse to do anything to them. which kind of puts Sancho out of play unless I'm going to use a card. I'm going to make a lieutenant out of, I think, Fanez, because I don't have a lot of supply capability. If I take Ordonez with me, which is my plan, I have 4 carts total. That means I can only transport 4 provisions. Let's say I want to attack here. Now, on my bright side, I have this, which will allow me to do a nice fast storm, if I remember that I have it. So if that's the case, I'm not going to be putting any Garcia cards in. So I'm going to be putting Fanez cards. And the whole thing is, I want to get enough activity that I can move my troops over, I can feed and whatnot. Right now, feeding is going to be hard, so I'm probably going to be paying 2 movement to go across there. Now, there are 8 cards total. If I'm not going to use any Pedro cards, well, I might as well grab some Sancho cards, because he can at least tax, keep himself in the game or something. I don't know. I don't have much plans with him. It might be useful to know what's going on here with Seville. So let's see, 4 cards of food. Let's say I'm not going to be able to get more than 4 food off that. 4 cards of food. I'm at 3 provender. That would get me to 7. Can't use Garcia. I lied. Pedro is the one I have to use. Now, Pedro is not at his own seat, so he's not going to be allowed to tax. He can gather food, but that doesn't really help this force, right? This force is going to have food after it moves. So whatever he does, I don't know. So I'm going to open up with this, grab 4 food. That gets me to a total of 7. I only need 2 to feed, so that's okay. I think I'll delay things with a Pedro card and a Sancho card. Delay things again with another Pedro, another Sancho. Delay things again, and then I'll put 2 Alvars to try, and I'm hoping to capture at least one of these cities using my special card and whatnot. Now, I also designate lieutenants, but that happens after all the cards have been played. So you stack the cards, which is essentially a simultaneous thing, as far as I can tell. Let's take a look at the sequence and see if it's a little clearer over here. But I think, so first, capability to discard. Missed that. Plan. Command activation. Okay, let's go to command. The player builds a stack of face down. They may always inspect their own. The number of cards are this. Selecting cards, arranging stacks. Okay. Lieutenants is another number. It sounds like another step, the way it's written here. During this step only. It's not absolutely clear. Let's see what we got here. Each side builds campaign plans and may designate. Yeah, you know, I think I have to designate my lieutenant first. And this is important right now because it does kind of signal. There is a card that allows you to unstack. I don't have it available, and the Muslims know that. So I've pretty much signaled that this force is going to be moving together, and this one's not. For the Muslims, there's not a whole hell of a lot I can do. I'm not going to get to do much at all. I want to raise some coin, I think, before the Christians go. So I'm going to play this. a coin or provender. I'm not sure which is more important. But basically, I'm seeing, the Christians could prepare. They're not in position to just launch a lightning blitz or anything. You need a lot of provender to get away with that kind of stuff. But if I do one prep, I can either get a coin, which will help extend this if need be, or I can grab provender, which is probably even wiser. Then I'm going to pass 4 times. Wow, I have a lot of these. 4, 5, make it 5 times, and then I'm going to play 2 of these down, and we'll see what happens. This is the best I can think of doing. All right. What do we got? We flip it over. We've got the Alvar. I was going to grab 4 food with him. Got 6, 7 food. I've only got 4 carts, but I'm almost full at this point, so that's about as good as it gets. Over here, trying not to knock anything over. Almoravid goes. I'm going to use that to grab 3 food. It's a pity. Could have grabbed food from both of those if I owned them both. I think I've mentioned that already. He's got 2 seats. I'm going to just grab 3 food, though. What are my specials? Horse. Oh, he has an extra command. Let's grab 1 more food. Yeah. The thing I keep forgetting. All right. But he takes 2 to feed, so if I do anything with him, it's going to be kind of problematic. We go back over here. I've got a Pedro. Pedro can't do a hell of a lot. Now, I could march Pedro around and do shit, conceivably. There's no connection. I mean, I could slip through back here and do shit over here. That doesn't look very valuable to me. The real question is how threatened I feel here. So I am going to grab supplies with Pedro. He can only get 2 supply. He can carry the 4. It'll be expensive, but that's okay. With carts, I've got a problem going over this anyway. I've got to pass over here. Flip this over. Sancho! Sancho's got nothing to fucking do. He's just going to tax. Can't think of what else to do with him. At least you can tax shit up all over the place. We got another pass here, I assume. Another Pedro. Alright, do I want to do something with Pedro? I can grab some victory points. And that gets me loot. Which is, of course, useful. Why don't we? My 2 command gets me here. And that's it. Sure. This might be safer. I don't know. Another pass. See, one of the things, though, is Cordova provides me with a defensive barrier. Almoravid, if he moves in here, he can bypass, but he can't just keep walking until he plays another card. So I feel kind of safe there. Sancho goes again. He'll tax some more. What the hell? More Muslim passing. Pedro. Pedro could ravage. That would be all he did. So before I ravage, I'm going to roll a die to forage. Oh, I forgot to feed Pedro. Pedro's a 2, 4, 6. He hauled in here. He would have eaten the food at the end of his last turn. This time he's going to forage, not ravage. He succeeds in foraging, so he gets a food back. This doesn't count as a move. And now I'm going to do a ravage, which gets me a half a victory point somewhere. And a loot, just a loot, right? Yeah. Which I don't need carts to move, and the fact that my carts are laden means I'll be moving, at that slow speed no matter what. We get back over here. And is Almoravid going yet? No, still passing. Now we got Alvar. Alvar's got his force. He's laden, so he moves 1, 2. Put this on top just to remind me. I got 2 more actions to spend. I could grab more food before I go. Why don't I do that? I'll grab 1 more food before. I wonder what that is. Is it a dog or something else? So if I grab the food first, then I move in for 2. That gives me 3. That's no good. We'll not grab that food. We move in for 2. We're going to bypass. Right? Let's look at this card. Upon march to enemy stronghold. No, that's not going to work. Can't bypass. Okay. So we have room to collect 1 food. I will collect that 1 food that I collected before. 2 more to move. That puts me to 3. I'm going to declare my siege, but I'm going to play this card and get a surprise. Because I had to do it right after the march. I couldn't do it as a camp action, by how I read it. So there's no lord there. I get 2 siege towers, which is good because both my lords can apply to it. And I can immediately storm with the walls down 1, which sounds like a pretty good deal. Leave this here, it'll remind me. And we got our attack here. It has to be Fanyaz who leads the attack, unfortunately. He's got his Ballesteros, though. Ballesteros, sorry. Which is going to give him some crossbows for all of his men-at-arms. Yeah, he's got 1. So this is a little town which is going to have 2 men-at-arms and 1 militia. And it's under storm. Okay. I would get 2 rounds of combat to begin with. That's all I get here. But the walls are weaker, so they're only 3s instead of 4s. Missiles first. That's 2 hits with the missile. Have to take it on armored units. They get to pick. They'll go after the men-at-arms. And again, yellow will be the siege works, which is at 2. That defends his armor. And that defends no matter what. I get to come back. I have my own missiles. I have a 1 coming back at him. I can shoot at anything. I'm going to shoot at the militia. And here the walls are a 3. And the militia has no defense. But that will defend against that. Now we go to the melee. That's a 2, if I recall correctly. Maybe it's a 3. It's a 3. And I think this has to be armored units. I don't remember. Yeah. Has to be armored units still. I get to choose what. I'll choose my knights because they're really potent. And that is a walls are 2, and the knights are like a 4. 1, 2, 3. No hits. I come back at 1, 2, 3, 4, and the stupid serfs give me a 5th hit. But we're facing level 3 walls. I will go once again after the militia first. Oh, I don't get to choose, do I? Yeah, he'll put the man-at-arms up first. That wall hits. 1, 2, 3, 4. Man-at-arms defends. 5. All defended. Go to the second round, and we get him. This is all we have is 2 rounds because there's only 2 siege markers. Would have loved to use him, but don't have him. Terrible. Which means we get the missile shots again. And that is, once again, 2 missile shots. I could choose to throw Garcia in the way here. I will not do so because the man-at-arms, I would rather lose men-at-arms than sergeants. That's not good. Now he'll pick the sergeant. That may not be good either because remember their defense is down 1, which I think I didn't pay attention to here. I think he probably took a hit. All right, we come back. We have no missiles. We go to the ground attack, and that is 3 again. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I fucked up and didn't take into account the archers, and it would have had an impact. There should be 1 less defender, but I'm leaving it as is. Because, you know, you fuck shit up. Do I want Pedro in the way? Sorry, Garcia in the way. I'm going to put Garcia in the way and use knights. One, 2, 3. We get to swing back. Now we got a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hits. And he'll be putting his men-at-arms up because why not? 1, 2, 3. Actually, I'm not sure if I fucked up. 4, 5. That's a hit. 6. That is not a hit. The men-at-arms are defended. 7 and 8 really doesn't matter because the garrison rebuilds entirely. This was beaten off, only able to do 2 rounds. Wasted my card to no good effect. We have the moved. Before I feed, I get to check my 2 units. The sergeant will be the grayer die or greener die. Sergeant lives. The man-at-arms does not. Puts him up here. I've got a feed, which looks like 1, 2. He must use his own provender first. And then this one comes off of him. What's this? Ah, it's my command card. That's what it is. Okay, so that was a failure. Not a great situation. Come over here. Almoravid. What do I want to do? I've got 2 Almoravid cards in a row. There's not a whole hell of a lot I can do. Moving here would just threaten all kind of stuff. I am going to tax. Rather than do anything exciting. Come back here, we've got another Fanez. Fanez currently has a siege of 2. I would have to roll 1 die on a 1 or a 2, and I could capture it. That's not bad. If I had the battering rams, it would definitely be worth it. Launching an attack doesn't seem good because this capability is on the wrong lord. So we are going to do the siege action. This puts a move fight on him. So both forces will have to feed again, but we don't get lucky this time, and we have to eat twice. Gets rid of that. Now, to my disadvantage, all my forces are out in the field. They're not going to be able to do any effective mustering. Bad planning, man. You know, I was planning on getting this. Him, I thought maybe I had another card for. I don't know. Almoravid goes again. I can't think of anything to do with him. So we'll collect more coin. That gets me to the end of the campaign. This is a harvest. All lords reduce their carts and mules to half. Round it up, right? Yeah. I only got 1 cart there, so I'm fine. Here, I lose 1. I can still carry all my stuff as it stands. Here, I lose 1. He has 3 total. I'm going to eat a mule. Yeah, I got so much crap, I might as well eat a mule. Yeah. Because I'm going to be paying the penalty anyway. Repairs. Only have 2 siege markers, so no. And now it's wastage, and what do I have to get rid of? Get rid of a provender. Get rid of a fucking mule. I have 3 provender and 3 carts. There would be some value to getting rid of something else, but I like his capability. I'll get rid of a cart. I'm not thrilled about this, but it's okay. Mainly because I haven't ravaged that. And Pedro, off where he is, we'll get rid of a provender, I guess. Over here, I get rid of a provender. It's not doing me any good. Over there, Lieutenant. Oh, we can discard any Arts of War cards that we want to get rid of. I think I like all mine. I just keep not using this. I don't know why. Or this. And these aren't really useful right now. Yeah, I'll just hold on to them. Yeah, I can't remember my cards to use them. Lieutenants end up on stacking. And we go back to Levy. And we got a whole bunch of stuff that, you know, is going to need to be paid to keep going with their campaign. Now, Pedro has loot. Alvar has loot. There's coin, so I can actually pay off this entire force. And of course, Sancho can keep paying himself because he's just, his great campaign is he's sitting at home taxing his people, which he's not really doing a campaign at all. And over here, I'm, of course, just peachy. I'm not even there. I haven't mustered any of my units, so I'm in pretty good shape. Into another levy phase, and we can see a lot's going to happen. Let's draw our cards. Hills. Hold. May play if defending in battle. Christian slingers are 1.5, and other missiles are 1/2. Okay. Baggage parapet. May play in a battle. Cancel a Muslim camp attack. If Christians retreat, pay 1 asset per lord to skip spoils and service shift. Okay. So this could be useful if I choose to lose a battle. And let's see what we get. Freebooter. Disband Rodrigo as if at service limit, if desired. Remove 1 VP from... I'm sorry. Disband him as if at service limit. If desired, remove 1 VP from Typhus and replace him on the calendar with the other El Cid. Sounds useful. Devaluation. Each locale where Christian lords have coin. No, this was not a hold. If desired, remove 1 VP. You know, I'm going to do this. I can get that VP back, but I'm going to take Rodrigo back, because that changes the nature of this turn. Okay. So yeah, this was just an event. It's not a hold. Devaluation. Each locale where Christian lords have coin, they reduce their total there to 1/2, rounded up. Let's see. Fine here. So this location, I have coin on 2 different guys, and so I do lose 1. And here, I lose 2 because Sancho has been busily taxing for whatever value that is. All right. Now we're allowed to pay, and we definitely have issues and less money. So I've got the choice of either keeping Garcia in the field or Alvar. I can't keep them both. I don't have loot. This is going to be a kind of tough call. So yeah, we've got issues here. All right. First of all, Pedro, I'm going to move these. He can't pay for them, and I just want them out of my way. They're not going to levy this turn. I'll flip them back, making sure I don't have anything in place. Sancho could pay and keep himself in the field. I think it's a good idea. It suppresses the Muslims from building these guys and from desiring them. So why not? And that will move Sancho and his force forward. But we did Pedro. He did not pay, and he's going to have disbands. They're on this turn, so it's no big deal. But the big call is between Garcia and Alvar. Garcia has a stronger force and has the other Garcia with him. So even though I've got all this provender with Alvar, I'm going to pay for Garcia to improve. Now I think I'm allowed to do this with anyone. Each coin spent at paying large locale. Yeah, I'm not restricted like with food, as far as I know with this. I can make a double check on that. Their own or other lord's service, yeah, there's no problem with that. What that means, though, is that Alvar is going to disband. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. He'll show up over here, and his troops, including these Crusaders, I'll just disband. Once I paid, these actually move forward. You know, the other option would have been not as bad. Hold on. I've thrown all this stuff. So the other option wouldn't have been too bad because I could have paid Alvar to move him up, and all I would have lost for Garcia is these forces. I'm going to stick with what I did. But I'm not allowed to play any more of these, which is somewhat problematic. We'll see. And Almoravid has a rather large force. The Christians are beginning to dissolve. I feel pretty good. I'm not going to pay because I'm here, but I do have to pay to keep somebody in the field regularly. However, I may be having a much larger force very, very shortly. Muster, who's in an unbesieged friendly location, only Sancho. There are no Christian lords that I can muster, so all I can really do is start pulling, I mean, I could muster this thing, but I don't know that that's terribly useful. I don't know that it's unuseful either. I mean, it is a knight. He's going to be getting more cards this turn. Okay, so he gets a knight and a man-at-arms. And this goes on for just one turn, as his entire force is now mustered. And I have one more. I guess I'll pull another mule, because we can eat mules or something. Not too excited there. Musters for Almoravid are more interesting, though. I again want to try to muster lords. Although we're getting late in the year, it's kind of hard to tell what you want to do. I'm not really familiar with how the winter mechanism plays out. I assume I'm going to be safe. I think they end up placing... They show back up in the spring, basically. So they'll be okay with that. So let's look at what we want to muster. And yes, we want Rodrigo, but... is Granada more interesting? Or is Badajoz more interesting? Well, they're equivalent in terms of fealty. I think Granada's still my more interesting place. So I'll make a roll for him. And that's a 1 through 3. I don't get him. I could go again. Other options, I mean, I could go down here for Valencia, or... he sucks. And don't want to bring him in. Almoravid is too far over, I think, for me to make much use for. So I'll go for Granada again. All right, I get him this time. Now, he musters with his starting stuff, but he, unlike how I rolled it before, or did it before, he doesn't get his lordship to try to muster more things. So this is his card setup. He doesn't get any assets or anything addition to what he had. The other important thing, the Parias goes away. That's a victory point away from the Christians. Of course, they're doing very, very well right now. But this is now independent and opposed to them, and may move in to try to challenge Garcia here. Unfortunately for me, he doesn't have a very big, very effective army, so I'm probably not going to be able to use him for that. Question is, can I do anything with Almoravid on his own against this? It takes 3 lords, 3 lords allows you to get a decent amount of siege capability against it. 1, not so much, so I feel like I'm not really in that much of a stronger position, but we do have call to arms. And the Christians for call to arms. Well, Rodrigo's not on the map, and the Christian Lord is not permanently removed, so I can't do anything to convert him yet. He has to come out and fight for one round before I can do anything. Which means the Muslims can pay 3 coins to muster him, or do stuff with Yusuf, which I can't do. Do I want Rodrigo for 3 coins? Well, I don't have enough coins anywhere. When was I allowed to move my coins? It's a good question. I was allowed to move them back here, which was before I knew that I was mustering him successfully. But yeah, I think I'm just in this position. Let's check it again. Let's check the Rodrigo. Pay 2 coin to muster Rodrigo from ready now. Pay 3 coin to muster him from ready. Let's take a look. 3, 4, 1. Can I use anybody's money? Pay 3 coin total from the typhus and or any unbesieged noble mats. Any unbesieged noble mats. Yeah. All right, let's pay him. Almutamid's just going to pay 1. We're going to pay the other 2 off Abd Allah. And we're going to... okay, I left it there. We're going to bring Rodrigo in with his forces. And that will give me quite a considerable quantity that maybe I can take Cordoba back with. I would be a lot happier if I had some kinds of cards or something, but no chance to, no chance to muster guys who just showed up. Flips us back to the campaign side of things. And again, I take a little break. I don't know how much back and forth I want to do. Now, if I had started Rodrigo here, this would have been a powerful force to chase Garcia away. But I think I can do more impressive things with him in conjunction with Al-Mutamid and let Abd Allah gather up forces rather than, launch any kind of attack. We'll see. We'll see how clever I'm being and how stupid I'm being. So the Christians are now in a very precarious position. Pedro out here, he can slip away, no problem. However, we probably want to try to defend Cordoba. And then we've got Garcia here, who doesn't feel as threatened as he could be. Rodrigo could have started here. That would have been a much more dangerous position. So I've got to kind of decide what I'm going to do. Now, I've got no food here with Garcia. I can forage, but then I can't siege. However, I could forage and assault as my last action. And that might win me this, especially with the other Garcia there. That would... I have the manpower for that. So I think that's going to be my plan. And then withdraw back as needed or as possible. That puts me in a risky position, though. Is it more important that I get Pedro down there? Pedro's got a fucking loot in hand. I get to go first. I think it's more important that Pedro goes first, because he's not really threatened, to get back to defend Cordoba. This risks Pedro. There's no question. But those extra troops there mean I'm probably not going to lose Cordoba. Rodrigo be damned. Okay. So Pedro Garcia. Sancho just doesn't matter. He's basically passes that are going to allow me to gain coins. I'm only allowed 7 cards this time, though. I could grab food twice. That would give me both my remaining actions there. That doesn't sound like a bad idea. Do I want Pedro to go again or not? His one move gets him in there first thing, right? He's got 2 commands. That gets him there. He feeds. He's done. So he may be done there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would give me 3 Sancho cards. Let's do Garcia twice more, and then Sancho for the rest. Leave Pedro in that defensive position. Yes, he could gather more food, but he has a reasonable amount on hand. Now I gotta think over here. And we move our tea as always, because things are just a little too crowded. I looked over the Muslim cards, and if I remember, I'm gonna regret having done what I did with Pedro, because he can be blocked. All right, what do we need here? Well, Almoravid has 4-point command. Rodrigo has 4-point commands. Abanala is probably not too effective. He would likely lose a fight against Garcia, although he might win one if Garcia screws stuff up. So I might want to. I'm definitely going to want to throw a card in later, but I think these are my big cards. So let's say I want to take Cordoba. How do I do it? I only have 4 provender. I can carry 6. That means no lieutenants over there. That means I will. Do I want a Rodrigo first, or I don't know. Honestly, I can't use both of these safely. Like, I can't use a lieutenant and have all my and get all 7 cards. So maybe I don't want a lieutenant. Maybe I want to operate separately. Almoravid can establish, one of them can establish the siege. I think Almoravid because he has more forces. So let's say he wants to establish the siege. He would have, he currently is all filled up. Not sure I want to do that. But establishing the siege early, I would be able to defeat Pedro probably. So yes, we will move in to begin with. That gets me a siege card. Now, it's going to take me 2 to move in there. It's already ravaged. That's not great, but I can supply. So I can do a couple of supply actions afterwards if I so desire. So then I want to get Rodrigo moving in there. He can grab 2 provender, move in, and there's not much else he could do. He could launch an assault if he wanted to, but that's not really going to help. Who do I want to lead the assault? Losing Rodrigo's troops is probably better than losing Almoravid's, so he might be the person I want to launch the first assault, or to provide sieges. Let's just alternate them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 1 more. I'll put Abd Allah there. I want to get the move on fast. And yes, we're down to 7 cards, which is not optimal. Not declaring a lieutenant. Anything else I had to do here? No. So the Christians get the first card. They will play a Pedro card. Pedro only has 2 commands. I'm going to march back here, but, yeah, we'd like to sever some heads. The Taifa marriage, you know, I only have 1 Taifa lord. Well, I have 2 on the board right now. I could move both of them up, but I could also get a better lordship value for Almoravid if I want to. I can play this, but I'd rather hold that to when they have 2 lords again. If I remember, I'm going to play Swollen River. He does not have the Adi leads or whatever. He does not, I think, have anything that helps him here. So I block his march. He spent the 2 commands, and he's not going anywhere. Now, I think if the march is actually blocked, he doesn't get a move fight marker. I'm not going to look it up. Because I don't want to. So we hit Almoravid. Almoravid wants... Well, he's full up in terms of what he can carry. So I will move into Seville. That costs me 2 moves because I'm overburdened. Let's put this here for now. I'll bypass because I can take another move to do a supply action, grabbing here. Then I can encamp and drop a siege in place. I have a move feed. I have to feed twice. So that'll be that. We go back. Garcia. Garcia has no food. However, I can use my commands to look for food. Because that area is not ravaged. Or I could ravage. Let's try once. Once doesn't find me anything. Do I want to ensure that I have a single food? Not yet. So I get a provision, and that doesn't really cost me anything. We go back, and we get Rodrigo. Rodrigo needs food. I'm going to... Actually, I really don't. I can move into here. I'm not stopped. And now... I could have grabbed 1 food. Now I grab... 3 food, 1 of which I eat. Just making sure I'm thinking correctly. I can't place a siege marker without being there at the beginning of the turn. We go back here, and these guys are cursing. I swear they are. Okay. So, Garcia. I have a provision. Do I want to ravage this or not? It's looking kind of ugly in a lot of ways. You'll note there's no gardens here, so if I take it I might be overly exposed. However, I would like to take it, just because. I have 2 commands. I'll try food again. I don't get it. Do I ravage or do I try food again? I'll ravage, which gets me a loot and a provision. Yeah, I forgot about that. I get both. And I didn't do anything that forces me to feed. However, I do get a half victory point for that. All right. Go back here. We draw a Rodrigo. Rodrigo can do a siege action. I think this is a good idea. That means I'm going to roll 3 dice. And I got to get... I'm sorry, that's not placed yet. I got to get 1s on all of them. Which, obviously... Ooh, not tasty. Not quite, though. All right, we get back to a Garcia. Now, this is, I believe, my 3rd Garcia card in a row. And it's time. It's time. I could try to demand a surrender. How do I have 2 sieges there? I had another leader there. That's how. Yep. I got to assault. All right. So, we try the assault. We're going to get 2 extra rounds of assault, so we get to go 4 rounds. That's the beauty of what our situation is right now. This is a town, I believe, which is 2 and 1. Just put Garcia here. I'll put a moved fight to remind me when I go back there to feed. I could put the battle card there, but that would be less memorable. All right, missiles. That is 2. 2 missiles hit me. I think I have anything special. Okay. I do not get to choose, so they're going to go after the sergeants because they have to go after an armored. And I've got a 2 wall. And I think only a 2 defense on those sergeants, which means 1 is hit. The other is hit. Not a good start. Christians are in trouble. Okay. I don't want to lose everybody. If I lose everybody, I'm screwed. But I can call the siege off, or the assault off, if I don't like what's going on. But now, I have no missiles, so it goes to a 3. Again, has to hit armored units. That has to be knights at this point. 2 walls. No bonus on these, so maybe I should have... That's 1, 2. That the knights block it. 3, the knights block it. Now I get to swing back. I've got 1, 2, 3 coming back. I can choose what to hit. I'll shoot at the militia first, but they've got full walls now. They don't have the bonus they had before. So that's 1, 2. Third one does not defend. Get rid of that. We go to the second round of combat. I'm going to keep a marker here because things are more complicated right now. That means only 1 shot, and it's got to be at a knight. The wall defends, the knight defends. I have no missiles coming back. That's 2 shots now. Again, it has to be at a knight. And this is without a missile bonus, the crossbow bonus against armor. The knights hold up. I come back and I have 3 hits on those men-at-arms. I get 1. I do not get that one. They have a 3 defense. Sorry, that was the wall. Green is the walls. I don't get that one. But I did get 1 hit. Now we move to the third round of combat. And a single missile comes in at a knight. Knight defends, even with the -1. Single hit of regular, of melee, that hits a knight. Not good. And I come back and I am swinging at 2. 1, 2. At... The walls protect. The walls and the armor protect. This is my last round. I'm going to keep fighting because I've got a chance. Not great, but I got a chance. Seem to be... there was 4 missing. Okay. Missile combat. 1 shot at a knight. The knight's armor holds. Melee, 1 shot at a knight. The wall and the knight hold. Coming back, 2 shots at that man-at-arms, and this is my last chance. Walls defend, barely. Walls defend. So, the fight is over. We have 3 checks. These will be the men-at-arms, the yellow will be the knight. No one survives. Garcia's not in good shape. He has to feed. His army's rather small. I could eat the loot instead, but it doesn't make a difference. I'd be overburdened anyhow. So this goes away. All right. And the fact that I'm there, I could actually win a siege by just sticking around on the next turn, conceivably. We go back here. We have an Almoravid. Almoravid's sitting there with 2 siege. That's as much as he can get. He could look for a surrender, or he could try to capture the city. A surrender is really unlikely. It's 3 dice needing 1s and 2s. I'm going to assault because I have my bigger force here. But the move fought here. Set up this way. I have no missiles, which sucks. I'm going to get chewed. The big question is whether I want Almoravid with his extra Counts of Barcelona, which count against me. Like, those troops go away if that card gets discarded for some reason. But I got a lot more force. I'm allowed up to 6. Oh, I cheated, didn't I? I did like 8 rolls against somebody. It's limited to 6 on the previous turn here. It's okay, he didn't take anything. But again, it's really hard to storm places. This is 3, 4, 5. You know what? I can't put Rodrigo first. I'll do Almoravid first. I won't just gather food. I've got tons of food there. I say, yeah. Okay. So this is a full city. It's 3 of each. This is 1, 2, 3. I don't know why they have different numbers on the dice. I don't think it matters. 3 of each. I'm not pleased by this, because that's going to be 3 crossbowmen, 3 points of crossbow against him in each case. Okay. Almoravid. Well, I can pick what I want to shoot at. I'll shoot at this sergeant because there's no missile troops there. And they have a defense of 2 from the walls. 1, 2, that's a hit on the sergeant. We'll go for a man-at-arms next. 3 defends. No missiles coming back. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll go for the men-at-arms. We want to trim his forces down some more. Which way are we going? We're going green first. Walls defend. 2, 3. That's a hit. 4, 5. Okay, what does he have in coming back? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he gets a full boat coming in. I don't have to go after the missile troops, and I'm not going to. The walls have a defense of 4 on the yellow die. The militia has almost no defense. That's 1, 2, 3. It worked this time. 4, 5, 6. 2 hits on the militia. That's the end of the first round. Rodrigo comes in. Missile-wise, it's 1, 2. Oh, where do I want to take the hits? I want to take the hits as the Muslims on Rodrigo. He's going to pick the sergeant to shoot at. That would be a hit. Now he'll go after the man-at-arms because it's easier. That would be a hit. Coming back. Now, each of these is allowed to get 6 as far as I know. I'm not positive about that. Let me see how that's worded. That may have been, I may have been allowed to get the 8 that I got, if that's the case. In fact, I know I was, because that's how I got that number. So let's look at Siege Work Stronghold. Each lord only adds 6 hits. Yeah, so I didn't cheat. I thought I did, but I didn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for Almoravid, and 1, 2, 3. That adds up to a total of 9. You actually process each lord separately, I think. Let's check that to make sure. Otherwise, it'll be 8. Let's look for flanking. Battle has roll walls in it. Yeah. Looking for flanking, looking for flanking. I'm not seeing the rules on flanking here. There. You total them, then round up, so yeah, it goes down to 8. All right. But each lord is allowed to provide 6. Okay. I guess, I mean, this is the second round. It kind of doesn't matter what we roll for, but I'll go for the militia first, because what the hell. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got him. 5. Ooh. 6. 7. And there's no reason to roll the last one because these regenerate every time. And this is the second round of combat. There's only 2 siege markers. I was hoping to overwhelm them. I did not. Which means it was a failure. And I may have to just roll for surrenders because I'm losing troops. All right, looking over here, gray for the sergeant, or green or whatever. These troops are destroyed. And again, gray for the sergeant. These troops are destroyed. We see the futility of trying to take things. You know, it was impressive early on, but that was with Alfonso leading stuff. Yeah, you know, leading a whole bunch of troops. Here, I just don't have the kind of forces that I had. Now I have to feed. Rodrigo eats once. Almoravid, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, eats twice. By 1. Okay. And that fulfills this. We go back. It's Sancho's turn. Sancho takes a coin. Oh. Rodrigo. Well, I have almost no chance with Rodrigo to do anything successful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll 3 dice, looking for 1s and 2s, because I believe that's the way it works. Let's make sure. Rolls a number of dice equal to the victory point value. There is a ravaged marker, so I actually have 3. So I'm looking for 1s through 3s because of the ravaged marker. Didn't think about that. Not good enough. Have to feed. Oh no! Oh no, Almoravid, you idiot. Rodrigo was supposed to grab food. I'm going to cheat. Rodrigo will grab food 4 times instead of making that roll. What would I have done if I had succeeded in the roll? Probably the same thing. Because, yeah, I just would not have made that choice. I hope. I never know. Back to Sancho. He generates another coin. Has nothing exciting to do. I hope there's no more Garcias in there. Garcia would have a chance. Almoravid. Okay, Almoravid's going to roll. I'm going to say that roll stood for the last one. He has to feed twice. 1, 2, and Rodrigo feeds once. That way we even things up. I don't feel as much like I cheated. I have enough food to go once more if I so desire. We go back. It's Sancho again. He takes another coin. I feel pretty comfortable with Rodrigo and Almoravid both here with troops. However, Rodrigo could be hit by a call to arms, right? So let's look at what that would do. Call to arms would allow... Where's Rodrigo's service marker? What the fuck? I summoned him this turn, so it's out here. That would get me 2 victory points, which isn't bad if they want to pull Rodrigo out of here. So, I flip the card. Oh no, it's not a Rodrigo. It's Abdallah. All right, he takes a coin. What the hell? Peachy, peachy, peachy. All right. And now we go to the end of the campaign. So I was thinking the wrong thing. Yeah, I used 6 cards. End of campaign. Game didn't end. It is not a harvest or growth phase. It's a repairs. There's not 3 or more siege markers anywhere. So it's wastage. Pedro here. Well, we don't want to use... we don't have an easy way to deal with this loot. He's slow moving. He could creep back this way. He probably can't beat Almoravid on an attack. And there's no way to like do a coordinated attack or anything like that. So, do I want to eat the loot or do I want to try to get it home? If I can get it to here, which is 2 moves, I'm in friendly territory, and then I can extend my play. I can't do that, though. I'm sitting out here. I have no money. I'm going to go away anyway. It doesn't make a difference. I'll get rid of the provender in the off chance that maybe Pedro can figure something out. But he is going to disband. Because he can't expend the loot in a non-friendly location. And Seville is not is not a Reconquista space. Okay, so that's his. Over here, I got one of each. I'm just fine. Absolutely thrilled. Now, it would be possible for Rodrigo to maintain the siege and Almoravid to come in and attack me, and that's a danger that I kind of have to worry about. And then Sancho has tons and tons of stuff, and of course he is going to eat his mule. It's a little weird because, you know, I can get coins during my command turns, but I don't know. And now I could discard cards. Do I wish to? These seem like a good idea at this point. And I think the Muslims want to hold theirs. This could be really obnoxious to somebody who's trying to run away. This could help both my commanders. I could also get some additional leadership, which could be really useful. Severed heads, I am not ravaging. I'm able to supply because this is a seat for both these characters, and that moves me back to Levy and a whole bunch of new problems. And for me, time to take another break. Well, good old Wait Shadow Legend says I have another half hour before something happens, so down here. I got to play a little bit, and then... Alright, so we're in the Levy phase again now. We're at the end of autumn. You know, I've been screwing up. I forgot about something. It doesn't break the rules, but there's Curious. At the start of the first autumn levy, check the conditions below. Curious can only happen if locales, not the typhus box, have more total yellow Christian conquered plus ravage markers than green Muslim conquered plus ravage plus jihad. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have more. And we may be able to avoid a problem here. We could have avoided it last turn instead. At the start of the first autumn levy, let's continue on. You check again in the second autumn levy. If the above condition applies, the Christian may opt immediately to proceed as follows. Place a curious marker in the, should have done it last time, in the current levies box, and if box 5, a second one in box 6. Remove a VP conquered marker from the typhus box for each marker placed. So I could have gotten 2 victory points, avoided this counterattack. I knew I was in bad shape. I definitely want to do this now, because the levy goes over to winter. You know, you fuck up, you learn things. Okay, so we're going to put a curious marker somewhere in the current levy box, and if box 5, a second in box 6. Yeah, should have done it. We remove 1 VP conquered marker, which takes a victory point away from them, and we're all over here. Advance the levy marker to the first 40 days of winter box, skipping 1 or 2 boxes. Yes, please. Shift the service markers of any lords of either side who currently are beyond service to the current 40 days box. Awesome. Why the curious would prevent the Muslims from being able to fight, I'm not sure. Right? This is an odd situation, one that's not to be expected, where the Muslims are actually about to retake something. And it would have been the case last turn as well. But anyway, whatever. I was allowed to do this. Proceed with the winter sequence. So, winter disband. Upon the first 40 days of winter box, only lords disband in a special way. First players may pay lords, then they must remove any beyond service, exception Rodrigo. Next, all remaining mustered lords, except those at sieges. Oh, no, the siege gets to continue. But not really. We'll see how this works. So I may have actually fucked the Muslims up by forcing them to stay for the siege. All right, clear each. What do we do? First, all players may pay lords. Then they must remove any beyond service. 3.31. 3.31, I think, will close out everybody who's here, if I recall correctly. Beyond service, those who are to the left will be removed. At service is not affected. So let's go back. So beyond service is only if they were to the left, which they're not going to be because we did a curia, which could have saved somebody's bacon, honestly. Exception C. Rodrigo. Next, all remaining mustered lords except those at sieges disband as if at service limit, but modified as follows. Clear each such lord's mat and replace each lord's cylinder on his mat instead of onto the cylinder. Okay. That is everyone. So, I'm not going to clear the mats. Why? Because I'm not sure what happens. And I want to keep an eye out for this. So those two are not at sieges. Let's go on. For disbanding Taifa lords, do not adjust the Taifa status nor that should be an end, nor award Pariah's coin. Okay. If disbanding either Rodrigo, place his cylinder at calendar box 9, even if beyond service. Well, he's sieging, so he's not disbanded yet. Now, we may pay some of these because they're in a siege. Let's just keep seeing. Then discard all board edge capabilities. That'll be these. And I just shuffled. Then, in each 40 days of winter, each besieging lord can undertake one supply or ravage. Then they feed. Finally, the Christian and Muslim players may pay lords at siege per 3.2 and discard those that are at or beyond service limits per 3.3. Okay. So we don't get to siege, but we do get to do supplies and whatnot. Now, this is a problem for him. His supply is just not going to work. He is unable to draw supplies from anywhere. And it is a problematic thing, but I'm allowed to disband him at least. So each besieging lord can undertake one supply or ravage. All right. I cannot do either supply or ravage with Garcia. So hold on. Oh, Sancho comes off too. And again, their mats are cleared. I haven't done that because I want to see what happens. Okay. So I cannot ravage and I cannot feed. It's a problem. Not being able to feed means I fall back. No, I have a provender. I can feed. Okay. I have a loot as well, so I could actually pay. No, I couldn't pay. I'll spend the loot, I guess. I don't know. And eat that. Over here, Rodrigo has to eat and Almoravid has to eat. I have some provender there. I am allowed to do one supply for each. So I grab a food for each and I feed with each. That's going to actually eat one of Rodrigo's food extra because Almoravid only has no food whatsoever. Okay. Finally, I can pay them and have to disband lords at or beyond the service limit. Do I want to maintain this siege? Can I maintain it? Next turn, I'm going to be eating 3 again. I will be able to feed them. Can I pay these lords? I really can't. And I'll be at service limit next time. I won't be able to. So I have to disband both Almoravid and Rodrigo at this point. And Garcia as well. This is going to be a normal disband, which is somewhat problematic. So that's going to just take everything and take them off the board. And I'll clear their stuff. Okay, so everybody's stuff, everybody who was removed has been already removed. All their pieces, etc., gone. Rodrigo, Almoravid, and Garcia are gone. Now these others are, like I said, they're clear, but I don't want to think about them. Okay. Do I have the wrong Rodrigo? I have the wrong Rodrigo there. Yeah. Okay. I have both of them there. So I did that. Upon the second 40 days of winter box, Christian lords who disbanded to their mats automatically muster, put their cylinders at free seats, put service markers ahead the normal number of boxes on the calendar and prepare them. Within that, we have some additional limitations. Now, one has to be kind of careful here because everybody's off the map. I think both players just lost by the automatic victory. Now, I'm assuming that there's something special, and that doesn't happen during the winter. But, and maybe this is in the errata. There was so much that I don't know what to say. But if at any moment in a campaign a side has no mustered lords on the map, the game ends immediately. The other side wins regardless of VP. Oh, during campaign. There is no campaign. Good enough. Good enough. And people are going to be back in the spring. So that's not a problem. So we did this. Upon the second day of 40 days winter. All right. So Sancho is off the map already. We'll take his stuff and, I don't know, put it somewhere. Kind of am out of people. Out of spaces for people. And Pedro is off the map. Remember, these were cleared, so this is the right thing to do. And this guy is off the map. I don't know his name. Abadala. Okay. And again, their stuff is gone, but I'm leaving it there because it'll be easier. Upon the second day of Rodrigo is gone. Okay. This stays here. I don't get to muster him. We go here. There's nothing going on. Oh, these are gone. So the Christians were able to call essentially Parliament. That's what the Curia are. And that made the Muslims go home. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to think too hard. But that feels really weird. Okay. And that can just stay there, the Curia marker. Nothing says to put it there. It'll allow me to, I guess, calculate position somehow. It doesn't really matter. The points are handled over there. They're mustered on their free seats. Put service markers ahead the normal amount of boxes and prepare these lords' mats anew. If Alfonso musters, he does not. Lords with no free seat do not muster. Instead, their cylinders ahead as if they disbanded this turn. The disbanding of Almoravid was a normal disband. So actually, he becomes a pariah state. which is 3 more Christian victory points. 1, 2, 3. In addition, that's going to create coin, which I have to look up. I haven't seen that. So we just went Parias, adjusting status, or change Taifa, adjusted status, victory, and other markers as follows. Parias coin. If changing from independent to Parias, the Christians add coin totaling the disbanding Taifa's service. 6 is Almoravid. Well, under any unbesieged Christian lord's map, well, there aren't any Christians on the board. So that money goes into the vapor. And we're now at like 18 victory points, which I'll mark by putting that. I could do this. That'll work. A little less disturbing. Ravaged land, if changing to Reconquista, flip things. If 2 independent, flip green to yellow, but no, they stay where they are. And hostage populace, nothing has really changed. These ravaged remain, even though it's in Parias now. Next, if changing to Parias, the Christian then Muslim, who wherever in the Taifa it has lords besieging or bypassing, make a choice. Yeah, that doesn't happen. Remove the siege. This could have affected some things briefly, but not really. Okay. Single stronghold. I don't think anything changes to jihad. Add jihad only in Reconquista and Parias. Only at strongholds, not at Christian conquered marker or Christian seat, or at a Christian lord, unless he is besieging or bypassing the stronghold. Yeah, we're not taking anything. Strongholds with jihad in our Muslim territory, each jihad adds. Yeah, so I don't think any jihads would be placed because this area has agreed to go into Parias, and Cordoba is conquered in addition. So, whatever. This did not work out well for the Muslims. I thought they were doing really nicely by turning the war around. They can't turn it around late in the game because the Christians might call Parliament and the Muslims go home. Feels funny. Okay. But I think I got that right. Spring muster. Does he have everything he's supposed to? He should have another coin. And he should have his markers. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got these guys out where they belong. A light horse. A militia. A sergeant. There we go. So that's what we ended up with, and things look kind of bad. And we look here. The Muslim lords who disbanded to Matson have a free seat of automatically muster as above, but shuffle together 1 command card of each such lord except Almoravid. Yeah, okay. Reveal 1 card at a time, put the service marker and the first card's lord in box 10. The service marker. The next in box 11, put all Mutamids in box 14. So we're only all the way over here. That's not good. Only Al-Mutamid, the guy you kind of start with here, gets a cheap regen, and he's not really available. So I'm almost forced into calling Yusuf in, as I see it. For any Taifa lord who would muster now but has no free seat, put his cylinder on the calendar and adjust the Taifa status, same as before. At the end of the second 40 days of winter, each lord at a siege reduces his carts and mules by a half. Yeah, well, we didn't want to stay at siege. nobody could really maintain it very easily. Did I make a mistake? Strategically, not rules-wise. I think I got the rules right. But did I make a mistake by not trying to keep Almoravid around for the siege? I don't think I had the resources. I didn't have the coin to keep him active through the winter, so I don't think I had a choice. So I think all I end up with is Abd Allah, and he's not around for very long. Of course, I do have coin on him, so I can keep him regenerating, and I can bring in additional forces. But right now, this is what we're sitting with. And that, I believe, pulls us to the levy here. And that's going to end this video. We'll start with the new spring. Sure doesn't look like we're ready for another campaign, does it? Pedro's back here. He doesn't have as much. Sancho is being Sancho. He's fine. Except he shouldn't have all this stuff because he showed back up. Let's make sure Pedro has what he's supposed to. Yeah, Sancho comes back with only one coin, one provender, and one mule. So yeah, I mean, we're in a much weaker position with both players, to be honest. But it's time for the riposte part of this. All right, so yeah, that did not work out quite how I expected. I forgot about the curious. I knew the winter was coming. I forgot about the curious point situation here. Certainly should have triggered it here. Just because, hey, the Christians were in trouble. Although, the fact that Almoravid laid siege to Cordoba and then decided, yeah, I'll join the Christian parliament. He essentially sued for peace or something, as far as I can tell. Which, you know, doesn't really make a lot of sense since he was on the offensive. And I don't... You know, instead of conducting the campaign that he could have conducted. I think the game doesn't expect the Muslims to be able to take back the initiative, or to take the initiative during that first year, but, you know, it happened, man. It happened here, right? Just the fact that, like, situations got out of hand and I needed to disband Alfonso and whatever, it put me in a position where it seemed like the best option. All right, well, we'll see. But yeah, this is not an expected result from, you know, what I was looking at least. Up it goes.